Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing good. I'm having a pretty good day. I got everything I wanted to get done early today, except for my exercises, which I will get done. It's almost 6 months now with just 2 days break, and that wasn't like an entire break because I did other things that were like just as strenuous on those days anyway. So literally like a solid half a year coming up on the 10th, which is pretty cool. And that's why I used to exercise every day till I got sick. And that reminds me like this morning, and I'm not just whining about stuff, but this is true. If somebody like smacks you just a little bit, it can hurt a vein. I've had men like with a bat. I had one guy beat on my legs. I was on the floor and I couldn't get up, and he beat my veins so bad on my leg that it almost popped them. And then I've had my jaw broken, my teeth broke out of my face, and smacked right here in my temple was the most recent one. But what I'm saying is these hits I've taken, especially to the left side of my body, seems to be what they attack the most. Literally led to me, along with my allergies, to having that stroke. And after I realized what my allergies were and tried to stay away from more upsets in my life, I don't even have high blood pressure right now anymore, which it used to be like off the charts. Or I would have a fever, but yet my body would be freezing. I'd be like 106 degrees and still freezing, which is like because of the circulation, I'm sure I was having problems. But so anyway, I got my letter written for the wards of the state for those children, um, especially the ones that are being outsourced out of our country to. It's unheard of a child with a social security number, or whether they have one or not. I had some questions that I asked my state, and I'm expecting answers tomorrow. I'm going to read that letter on here, and then I'm going to put it in the mailbox and see what kind of response I get from our uh, public servants, our public officials in my state. The senators and the House of Representatives. I'm asking it to be read on the floor of the House. And I'm going to read it on my YouTube channel in case my writing isn't. I'll show you my writing. Um, I have 4 pages. It's not the best, and I've had my hands like smashed and broken, and you know, it's not the best in the world, but it's legible. You know, I'll show you like my signature, for instance. And it gets hard. I mean, after a while, and I've done like a lot of writing and typing in my life, but like my signature is kind of pretty, sort of. So I mean, it's not too god awful. But it's 4 pages, making my point clear to these people that to me, adoption shouldn't be a thing. You just hand a baby over to a stranger and never look to see again if it's okay. Or ones like me that were um, brought through the courts, adopted out, brought back 2 weeks later, injured, and adopted out again to a bunch of freaky strangers. That's and never looked in on again to see if I was okay. And I ended up having to go to the state and divorce my own parents because of the abuse I was suffering in my home. I was better off as a kid working out on my own with my own place to stay. And if they think that that's okay, that adopted children are better off with people just because they have money, that is couldn't be further from the truth. you know? So, besides that, if they still have social security numbers and they're taken out of our country and they have dual citizenship, or their numbers are still being used to like contract bonds or trading or investments that our government uses our numbers for, and the people never see any dividends from the situations that are going on with our numbers. And this is a fact, absolute fact. So I have many, many questions about these children being taken out of our country, let alone the ones that are in here and just giving to people. I mean, what is a deep psychological evaluation? Who would you give your child to, let alone a puppy? I mean, say you love your dog. Would you just give your dog to any old buddy because they say they want to adopt your dog? Well, this is a baby we're talking about, a soul. So it's really important. And yes, they could have their own hospitals and schools and trade schools, and siblings would never have to be separated. I mean, the boys from the girls at night, but siblings could like go to school together, and there could be structured communities for adopted children's in orphanages. And the funds that we use on wars and other nonsensical stuff that people are going to pinpoint. I mean, as soon as um, funds are misappropriated in areas, and two, when the courts make money off those children being adopted out, and where does that money go? You know, there's court fees, there's lawyer fees. Everybody gets a chunk of the pie. Who's the loser? You know, it's not a win-win situation for the kid. No kid wants to be put with a bunch of strangers. They'd rather have kids their own, their peers, people that are going through the same type of thing, you know. And this too stems a lot from a friend of mine, Michelle. Mickey took her own life because she was lied about by a woman her father was involved with, and the kid ended up taking her own life. And this is when, and she was put into a girls' school, and when she left the girls' school and had to go back into that abusive home, she killed herself because the woman lied about her. And I know she lied because I know my friend. She was a much nicer person than I was. I mean, kind. On the surface, I was a little rougher, but would have laid down my life for my friends or saved their life, which I, oh, bug, which I actually did in that facility. One night, another friend of mine was having a grand mal seizure, and luckily I had been around epileptics before, so I was able to administer health care to her, you know. But and even the counselor in there wasn't qualified. That's why these kids need more emotional support, and they really do. They don't do. There's no way a stranger, just because they think that baby is cute, is capable of raising somebody else's child. And I am a firm believer. If I mean, say what you will, I don't care. I mean, I care up to a point, but if you weren't so blessed with children, maybe that's the way it's supposed to be, you know. And if I had been taken out of my country, I would have never met my blood, you know, and they wouldn't have met me. And they love me. I mean, most of them love me. I mean, my own birth mother doesn't love me, but my siblings do. You know, my brother and my sisters, they, sure. would feel bad if anything happened to me. So that's of course just one person's outlook from the whole situation, but with 6.5 decades to back up what I'm talking about, as far as my observation with other children that have been in group homes and adopted, and I'm not saying that it doesn't work out or can't work out. I have an adopted grandson that was just adopted into our family from a person, a close friend that couldn't take care of the child. Was a different situation. These people knew each other already beforehand. So it wasn't like they were signing their child's life over to, and he's not a baby. He's a preteen. So it's not like he was a baby going into strangers' arms that don't feed them or keep them warm or teach them the right way. Those type of things are pretty important. you know I don't know if you ever woke up cold and woke up hungry, or um you know had emotional abuse on a daily basis, that type of trauma. But if you're in, I mean, yes, birth parents do that type of thing to their children too, but I've found that it's a lot easier for strangers to treat you poorly than it is your own family. I mean, family does do it, but still, even if you're analyzing what I just said as an adult, put yourself as a tiny person and think about having that type of barrage on you, be it from blood or whatever. But I mean, you still, you're going to have better chances, like, say, a sibling that isn't your blood being older than you. Are they going to care if you're cold or give you the shirt off their back? No, but if you're in the same house with your brother or your sister, most likely your brother and your sister are going to kind of help you out in some respect, most of the time. And it isn't like a total stranger is, you're not with strangers. You at least can look somebody in the eye and think to yourself, gee, they have the same shaped face I do, or, that type of thing. And those are important things. If you don't have them, well, like for me, I was happier with people that were in my same type of situation because we all had that in common. I did better in school. I did better socially, you know, so all the way around. Excuse me. Cheers. Doug's cat has been sick again. He had thyroid problems really bad about 2 years ago now, about a year and a half, somewhere in there, where we had to take him to the vet and get him intravenous fed, and he had medicine, and he had been doing better right up until last week, and he's kind of feeling rough again. And the other day I did give both of the cats, the one feral one I brought in, the broken up one, I gave her a sponge bath, and I gave Bob a SpongeBob bath, but didn't want to get him too wet. But he has a bobtail, and it's real thick like a pom pom, and I had to really get that part of him wet, and he was so embarrassed. He was really mad at me. I had never seen this before in my life, but after I gave him a bath, I had used water in mineral oil, because mineral oil is the same oil that they use at a vet's office. I used to work for a vet out on a ranch. Uh, And then I go out at night when he needed help, like pulling a calf out in the middle of the range or in a barn or wherever, on call. But anyway, so it's the same thing, mineral oil, um, that they use, or a light petroleum, to get rid of ear mites in cats. So his fur itches because of his thyroid. And so I thought maybe that oil would help a little bit on his fur and his skin. So, like I say, I don't want to get him too wet because he's a 12-year-old, or maybe 12 and a half now. Um, so I didn't really want to, like I say, get him really soaking wet. And it's kind of warm today, so it was sort of okay yesterday, not too bad, and the day before, but yeah. I don't know, just out of the blue, I got sick. He'll pull his fur out, is what he does. He just sits there and itches and pulls it out. So I just had to do something. We've put neem on him. We've tried like this ointment we got from the vet, all kinds of things. So, and a lot of it does have to do with his diet, getting rid of the kitty food and giving him like whole foods, like vegetables and meats. And like one night I took chicken and cauliflower and took some of the chicken juice and chopped everything all up together. And they ate the chicken first, but they did eat their cauliflower too, surprisingly enough. So they were craving it. So yeah, I see a spot on my, it's gone. I had a freckle for a minute. I used to kind of have freckles, a few, you know. And it's funny, I'll probably get them again when I get older, because you might notice with old people, if they had freckles when they were little, they'll get them back when you get older. It's kind of funny how that works, you know. Yeah, that plane I saw earlier today, and it was flying towards the sun, but it was coming out of the north, um, west, heading kind of southeast. And I pointed my camera up in the sky to the north, and I could clearly see it with my eyes, but it didn't show up on my phone, which is really strange because usually it's kind of the other way around. Like we'll capture things with our phone that we normally won't be able to catch with our naked eye, you know. Which reminds me of captures. I'm going to share Bruce Cesal, Astronomy Ufology, from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. He has a really good video, and I'm sure some of you are from his. And welcome, hello, thank you for joining us over here. A lot are from Bruce's channel too, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you. And so you're familiar with his phenomenal work. I mean, when he gets clearer pictures and actually showing movement and buildings and different things on the moon that our government or other governments in the world are not showing, when he can take, even before he got the 14-inch telescope, had better footage than what NASA shows us. That's ridiculous. Why would an amateur photographer, and I would call, he's probably more advanced with his techniques and his photography knowledge than most people, I would say, in his time and effort that he puts in there. But there's very few people that I've seen that actually have the footage that he's showing. There's nobody that's showing what he's showing, and I can hardly believe every time I see something that incredible that more people aren't looking at it and going, oh my God, what's going on up on the moon? And how does Bruce get these images? And he's not a liar or a fake. I know this not just because he was born on the same day as me. Thank you, God. Another one with the brain. No, no offense, everybody. I love everybody. Don't get me wrong. I just love my twinsy. It's fascinating to see a big guy born on the same day as me with brown eyes and brown hair that could look like my little brother that was born on the same day, and we end up being friends, you know? So, I mean, we talked like years and years ago, but things have calmed down out here a little bit, and I got to say, we've gotten closer. As in Bruce's community, he's got so many good people over there. It's hard to keep track of everybody, honestly. There's just so many of them. So I'm going to share a link to his work, and maybe you can share it out too. And let's try and get him some recognition, because for sure something's going on up there. And that isn't that far away. I don't believe like the sun's 250 billion miles away. I just don't believe it. And the moon seems like it's gotten closer. I know the earth has moved, so they say, but I have never seen the moon this close in my life ever. There and the its movements seem to have changed. Maybe, you know, when it goes retrograde or whatever. I mean, maybe it hasn't, and maybe I'm just not realizing its movements and understanding it. But I swear, it's not like it used to be. I just can't prove it. You know, just out of my mind. But and I can't look at the moon and prove that there's life on there or activity which indicates life. If not life, machinery. There's something up there that is either human or alien made, or maybe we're the aliens and they're the humans or something. But there's something going on up there, and the governments of the world know what's going on. I don't believe they've ever been there. I think that they would die if they ever tried to go there. I do believe that there's a lot of them on this planet that were kicked out of there. That's just kind of my thoughts. And once again, I can't prove nothing. I'm just talking out loud, but you know, or thinking out loud, you know, but yeah, it's it's too incredible not to look at it and think, geez, even if it were fake, which it's not, um, all the details and movement and lights, and I mean, you can clearly see that there's lights and roads and buildings and activity, and it's unbelievable. I mean, some of these things look like creatures, like they're moving, like like in segments almost. It's not like a zoom like a plane. It's actually got like motion, movement like that, you know? So like a person would motivate, you know? So I don't know. But it's wild. It's astounding. So yeah. Yeah. Them kitties are really cute, aren't they? If you saw my last video. If you want one, you can come and grab one. So, if you can, I mean, I could have grabbed one this morning, but I didn't want to pick them up. The mama was scared because, see, I told the two girls from the cat I brought in here that got all busted up. There's Heart Baby and Puma and a couple others that went missing, but Puma never let me pick her up. I can pet her nose. Heart Baby will let me pick her up, but I can't walk with her. because they heard me say if I could pick them up, I could find them homes. They will not let me pick them up. Not really. I could, like I say, I can hold Heart Baby, but I can't walk with her. I'd be able to let them in the house and give them away and probably find them homes like that. So, but they do have their it'll be heated water again this winter for them in their kitty house. They have dog houses in there and insulated, and I'm going to get a bale of straw. There's some straw in another hutch that I had for my chicken that I'm going to clean it out and freshen it up. And they've got carpetings on the floor. I got insulation underneath one with a barrier of plastic and then a carpet on top. And then I've got two giant rubber black runners of carpet on the other part. So, like, the whole floor is covered, and some of the walls are like insulated. The roof is black rubber, so it catches the heat in the wintertime. So their water never freezes. So at least like their water and by that is always above freezing for them. So, and I can go in there and they have a kitty door to come in and out, and that's covered with plastic and cloth with a slit in it so they can go in, and then I can get in there and feed them in the winter so they're safe. So yeah, just got to get that cleaned out and set up again for this winter for them. They've been out and about everywhere else except for there until winter time. So yeah, like sleeping in that one truck. See, the floor is gone because Doug's still putting pieces of metal in different spots. So yeah, I liked it the way it was. It was like cream yellow. It's a Dodge. It had lions, a pride of lions on the side with the cream yellow, and Doug got a picture of it, of the artwork on there. But I loved the artwork, and after he took it off, he says to me, "Well, I didn't know you liked it. I didn't really like it." I said, "I loved it. I thought it was awesome. In fact, for somebody to actually make and paint recognizable lion and his female and a couple cubs, in the tall grass. It looked like on the Serengeti or something, it was beautiful. It was like the work that was involved in it. I would have put like a acrylic over it or something, and make it last forever. Maybe painted around it, but he wanted it kind of, it's going to be like a flat electric blue, not shiny. So, oh, whatever. I don't care. So, but yeah, I thought the artwork was awesome. And I wouldn't do it on my own truck, but since it was there, I would have left it. But that's, I don't know. Whatever. So yeah, he's working on that. We've got a few projects around, like quite a few vehicles actually, but yeah, some are for sale, some aren't. Well, I'm gonna get this uploaded, and as early as I can tomorrow, I'm gonna get on here and read that letter. And I told them in the letter if they can't read my penmanship, then they can just get on here, because after I read it on here word for word, I'm going to put it in the mailbox. And I told them that it'll be on YouTube because I want it documented whether or not my state still doesn't care about me or does care about me. So, guess I'll find out, because any representative that I tried to get a hold of since, and it's been a long time, but there was Mark Dayton, when he was senator and governor, he would literally talk to me through email, actually answer me, you know? So, and I haven't even gotten a return phone call from the 3 separate so called public officials I tried to contact. Nobody cared. What I got is, yes, thank you, we'll get back to you. Uh, yeah, sorry, she passed away. She's not here anymore. You know, when were they going to get back with me? Yeah. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Have a really good night or day wherever you're at. I love y'all. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.